Yes, and welcome back to the Tottenham Concept. Thank you for joining me here. Big up your damn selves. You know, I appreciate every time you click on the video. It means a lot to me. We're growing. We're up to 100 subscribers. That's, I'm happy. For me, that's huge. So we're growing, and I appreciate your support. I do, truly. Right, today's not a review. I know. Fucking shock horror. Look, listen, there's been some bombers. Kind of bombers. Kind of bombers. We've had some links. It was close enough, but they are concrete, at least some of them. So that's a good thing. Listen, today I'm seeing so many YouTubers and fans say the same thing. Cody Gakpo is not a bomber. Now that interests me because our main left winger is Maffy's Tell. Maffy's Tell. And people don't think Cody Gakpo is a bomber? I mean, come on now. You know? That's mind-blowing for me. I understand it's not that fancy name. You know, it's not a Ronaldinho type signing for sure, but at the very same time, it's a safe, sturdy option. I mean, I've always sort of maintained that, although, you know, I've got love for Savinho, the Gakpo would be probably the safest option because, look, realistically, this guy has done it in the Premier League. He's produced numbers in the Premier League. And for me, that's something, I feel that's something we need. Look, don't get me wrong. Like, you've got Leao's out there, and Leao is a special player who produces special moments, but he's not a consistent player. And for me, that's one of the biggest problems at Spurs, consistency. So maybe we need a player like Gakpo because you know what you're going to get week in, week out. With someone like Leao, although he is a moments player, fine, I grant that. But he doesn't perform week in, week out. He doesn't give you what you see in highlight reels. So for me, maybe we're better off with a Gakpo. But look, we'll get into it. So the reason why I'm so not annoyed, not irritated, just blown away by the amount of people that are saying, don't go for Gakpo. That's not a bomber. I mean, come on now. Look, we're going to do something a little bit different today, and I want to show you why I, for one, am excited about Gakpo. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. You have to bear with me because I haven't done this before, so look, I'm new to it. So look at that, and then that. Remove that. Sorry, guys. No, here we go. Try again. This is a good start. Nope, I don't want that at all. Here we go. Right, lovely. We're here. Okay, so this is a side-by-side comparison of them both. So this is the Premier League comparison tool. You can get it at all good retailers. What I've done is I've set it to 2025-26 for both players. Now, what this is the very best of Maffy's Tell because this season was his best season, and the very worst of Gakpo Liverpool thus far. Okay, so let's take a look-see. Now, initially, you'll see 31 games for Tell, 36 for Gakpo. There is a significant difference in minutes played. I understand that. And I suppose this is probably not a good way to start because it doesn't look great so far, but bear with me. 4 goals for Tell in 31 games with less minutes. It's quite impressive, to be fair, actually. But at the same time, there's no guarantee with an extra 1,000+ minutes you'd get to 7 goals. You know, there's not. But like I say, minutes played for Gakpo significantly more. So you would expect, you know, stats to be slightly higher in some aspects. Look, it's there for you to see. Double GA. That's 7 goals for Gakpo, 5 assists, 4 for Tell, 1 assist. You know, for me, that says consistency. And this is Gakpo's very worst season, by the way. Moving further down, let me just click on this. I'm not going to pay attention to yellow cards or red cards. It's boring. Goal involvements. So this is, for me, where you start to see the meat of it all. Goal involvements between Gakpo and Tell is a significant difference. You've got 12 for Gakpo, 5 for Tell. Kind of tells you all you need to know, really. Expected goals is 2.44 for Tell, whereas Gakpo is 8.46, which is insanity. Shots inside the box. So this is an important one for me because it says, where is a player when you need them to be there? And for me, seeing 8 shots inside the box to 31, that's insane. That is insane. So that means he's exactly where he needs to be when he needs to be there. I'm happy. Shots outside the box. Now, we've all seen Tell's quality outside the box. That's right. He doesn't have any. Look, Tell's had plenty of chances where he could at least work the goalkeeper. Most of the time, nothing. Whereas someone like a Gakpo, 16 outside the box, and I've looked and checked this up. Most of them were on target. He made the keeper work. Another huge stat here. Now, I know these are 2 different teams. Fine. I understand that. I understand we're at very different stages, and I get that. Liverpool are a very attacking team. But regardless, 187 touches in Liverpool's box. It's telling you he's where he should be. So for me, that's massive. Hit the woodwork. Again, it's not really just meh. So penalties and woodwork. Expected assists. Again, blows Tell out of the water. And I'll reiterate the fact that where he's doubled Tell's expected assists, that says he's smart with possession. You know, he's got an eye for getting the ball where it needs to be. And Tell, for me, he works it back too much. He's not brave enough on the ball. His decision making is poor in the final third. Poor. We've seen it. I don't need to tell you guys this. You know this. Yeah, free kick scored. Blah blah blah. I mean, again, that free kick from Tell the other day, unbelievable. Wouldn't take that away from him. Crosses, another important one here. So 28%. That's 43 crosses for Tell, and 56 and 13% for Gakpo. Again, it kind of spells out the story a little bit here. Let's go on to possession. And again, this is something where you all see a significant difference. I can get my fucking words out. Passes for Tell, 359. Compared to Gakpo, 750. That's huge. The difference there is huge. Now, I know minutes is a thing, but again, in terms of where was the dribbling pass? I'm just going to go across to physical quickly. So look, for me, right, it looks like Tell's ability to dribble could be better than Gakpo's. But for me, when you pair up the dribbles and the passes, that says Gakpo has, what's the word I'm looking for? He has a better sense of what to do with the ball. He'll pick and choose his times when to take the ball forward and when to pass it off. So again, better decision making. Long passes is neither here nor there, so I'm not too worried about that. Through balls, again, another interesting one. Tell hasn't put a single through ball into a striker or a midfielder or perhaps his opposite number winger. Gakpo's got 5, you know. So again, we're starting to see a massive pattern here. Gakpo is clearly better than Tell. So again, when people say to me, "Oh, Benji, it's not a massive bomber," it might not be a massive bomber, but I think it's the bomber it's not the bomber you deserved, it's the bomber you needed. That's what I'm thinking here. Okay. And again, so I know Gakpo's got a bit more meat on him than Tell, so I would expect in the physical stats to mirror that. You know, Jules won significantly more than Tell. Again, I know the minutes played, but either way, it's there to see. Aerial duels, there's a huge gap between the two. Huge gap. And I think Gakpo's 6'1", 6'2". So if I'm not mistaken, I mean, look, think of it this way. This is how I think of it anyway. You know, if the goalkeeper is going to pump it out to the wing and Gakpo's marking up, and at most, you know, a lot of left and right backs are quite short these days. You know, when you've got Gakpo winning back possession, I just think, you know, you never know what can happen. So for me, I think it's a good thing. In terms of defensive output, look, I don't want to take anything away from Tell. Tell he puts in that effort. I don't think anyone can sit here and say Tell doesn't try hard. He does. So, and again, it does reflect. So tackle-wise, Tell's got 19 and Gakpo has got 28. Not amazing considering the amount of minutes more Gakpo's played, but regardless, I guess he's used as an outball. Interceptions, again, Gakpo wins this. That's still probably more than what Tell would have got should he played the same amount of minutes, I would have said. And then blocks 4 and 2. And discipline, I'm not going to bother with. I've got to try and bring this off the screen now. Yeah, discipline, I'm not really going to bother with because I don't really care about that. I mean, does it show passion, desire? If people are getting yellow cards, maybe. I don't know. It's either that or they're just poor attacking. But yeah, for me, look, I've said it more than once. It may not be a bomber, but I think we need a player like Gakpo. So I'd be more than happy to take him. Now, we know we're also linked with players like Gakpo. We're also linked with players like Savinho. Now, from what I've read and from what you've probably seen as well, whatever happens with Gakpo, whether we get him or not, because the thing is, Liverpool turned around and said, absolutely not, we don't want to sell him. And if that is the case, then, so be it, I guess, but regardless, I'd at least applaud the fact that we're going for a player like Gakpo. I do think we need someone. But yeah, like I was saying, so with Savinho, I absolutely adore Savinho. He is my man. You know what I mean? Yeah, with Savinho, you'd still have him as well on top. So from what I've read, it's Fabrizio Romano is saying Spurs are still trying to get Savinho and they want another winger on top, which is great news for us. Whether or not we can get that, I don't know. We'll find out soon, hopefully. Savinho, I'm going to be honest with you. You know how I feel about the guy. I'm not convinced we're getting him at this point. I'm really not. Because we've been looking at this guy for, 2 years now? 2 years? Something like that. I mean, it just sounds like a lost cause to me. I mean, the guy, I think, has done pretty much everything he can do to get out of Manchester City. I do feel bad for him. But, and again, I'm not sure if this is factual, but I'm going to say it anyway because I've seen reports. People are saying that Manchester City have seen the way the market have gone and have gone, well, hold on a minute. Well, then we want more money for Savinho, which is likely to be the case. And Spurs have sort of taken a back step and thought, wow, we were sort of looking at 50, 60 mil. And I saw somewhere, I don't know how true it is again, but I saw the Man City one closer to 80, which is batshit crazy. Not because the player is not top quality, because I think he is, but I think you do have to base valuation off of a previous season. And again, there's context as to why, but he didn't have a great season last season. So it is what it is. But either way, it's nice to know that if we are to get Savinho, that we are also looking at another winger. So I'm over the moon. Yeah, we'll see. This is Tottenham. All right, so we'll move on to the next one, or the last one, should I say. Now, I know there hasn't been anyone super credible that said this, but apparently Spurs are in with a 50 to 55 million pound bid for an Osimhen. Now, just for a minute, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine what Spurs would be like with Savinho and Osimhen up front. Oh my goodness. It would be pure hell. You've got the creativity and ability to beat players in Savinho and Kudus. And you've got that man, that unit waiting to be fed. Because the one thing Osimhen can do is put the ball in the back of the net. I think we all know that. I've always said with Osimhen, he's the closest thing to a world-class striker you could probably get. Look, the guy doesn't do anything pretty. He just he's like Harry Kane, bar the passing. He's got the same ability to fox in the box. He knows where that goal is. He reads defenders' movements really well. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful. He's quite quick as well. So it's great to have a turn of pace in the box as well. So, I'm all for it. But like I said, there's no super credible link. There is a few out there that's like, semi-decent, but nothing uber reliable. Not a Plattenberg, not a Romano. So I don't know whether or not we're going to have to hold our breath on this one. But for me, it would be an absolute dream. And I did do some digging on Osimhen. So I keep hearing from people, we couldn't get Osimhen because of the wages. So currently, Tonali is on 275k a week. I fact checked that. Now, I was told that Osimhen was on like £350,000, £400,000 a week. That is completely incorrect. Osimhen in Great British pounds is on £308,000 a week, which is a big, big step of wage. 100%, no doubt. I mean, that's a lot of money. But Spurs have already done 275 with Tonali. If you want quality, you pay for it. And I think, for one, think the biggest problem at Spurs has always been wages. Maybe not always, but in the last sort of 5-10 years, I would say wages. And I think because realistically, we've gone out and we've spent the money. You know we have. We've all seen it. We've spent the money. It's just been poorly because we don't want to pay the wages for players, which for me, I think is batshit crazy, but it is what it is. So yeah, that being said, I just feel like if it's only 308, I don't know if he would come down in wage. He might do, simply based on the fact that he's coming to the Premier League. Could that be a draw for him to go, okay, I can work with you? The only other thing is over in Turkey, they've got a special bracket of tax for players like Osimhen. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's only 20% tax, whereas over in England, it would be 45% tax, which is a big hit on his sort of behalf. It wouldn't be great. But look, listen, if these rumours are to be true, and he wants to come to the best league in the world, or one of quite possibly the most exciting project clubs in the world, then bringing a player in like him, okay, would show a real sign of intent. We're not here to play games. So if we were to go that route, please, Lord. I mean, again, if not him, maybe a Ferran Torres. I'd love him. That deal just makes sense, but I've not seen any links. So there's no point in talking about it, unfortunately, even though it makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, bringing in Osimhen for me would be, it would be unbelievable. And I think of those three players lining up for Spurs, your Savio, your Osimhen, your Kudus, it would be absolute carnage. And for the most part, I think we would have a complete team. There'd be no more marking players like Kudus out the game, because now you've got a front three of terrorizers. Honestly, I don't know if anything will happen regarding Osimhen, but if it does, we're in for one bumpy fucking season. This is going to be insane. Who knows? With players like that, I'd go as far to say, I know I've said I think we'll finish even if we get the front line in around 8th to 6th. And I always base that on when you bring in such an influx of players, a big influx, and we've seen this historically with Chelsea, Liverpool. When you bring in so many players, they're not a team. They're a team. They're a squad of good players, and I think you need to build that sort of team cohesion, that chemistry. But either way, Sav says this a lot. Cream rises to the surface, and when you buy good quality players, for the most part, it should always work out for you. Look, I'm going to wrap it there. We are all eagerly anticipating our next set of signings. Good God, who knows? Who knows what could happen? It's exciting and both nerve-wracking at the same time, but it is what it is. Like I say, I'm going to wrap it there. Thank you very much for joining. Smash that like and subscribe button. I very much appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, guys. Now, this is what I need to fix. Every time I end a damn video, I have to, I'm going to try again. Ready? See if I can do this quick. Take care, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Speak to you soon. All right, we've got it.